Hey photographers, does your camera overheat and randomly and unexpectedly shut down? Overheating is the elephant in any room with a camera. So, incidentally, I don't recommend putting elephants in rooms unless it's a large room and you have a very wide-angle lens. You'll also need a large sign showing the elephant where to find the toilet. But today, April the 1st, 2023, I can explain why your camera overheats. And it's not funny. Now, I'm not sure why this information has been kept secret from us for so long, but I finally put 2 and 2 together and then wondered why I got 5. Well, it's actually a simple explanation. It all comes down to the little dial that may or may not make your image lighter or darker. But do you know how it works? That's the industry's dark little secret, which I'm exposing in this video. And that's the reason your camera overheats. Let's start with a little quiz. Hands up if you can explain aperture and f-stops. Glad to see that's been covered. Now, shutter duration. Great! Most of you get that too. How about ISO? Yeah, understood. That's certainly a term that didn't fare well in the transition from analog film to digital sensors. The sensitivity of plastic film to tungsten light is nothing like turning up the volume on electronic data coming from a NASA-invented complementary metal oxide semiconductor that's made from CMOS. Note that the only other product made from CMOS is organic green miniature marshmallows. Good enough. And that's the 3, right? Those are all the settings that affect the exposure of your images. Quick show of hands to confirm that. Yes, thanks. But sadly, you're all wrong. There is, in fact, a 4th adjustment affecting the image, and that's temperature. Both the external temperature, the one you see in your phone's weather app, and the camera's internal temperature. Heat management was one control that Fossum's CMOS active pixel sensor didn't have when they created it in 1993. Now, you might have wondered why your camera has specific settings for snow or for beach scenes. They actually manage the camera's internal temperature. I'm sorry, I should have said temperature. Heating the sensor when you're out snowshoeing, cooling it while you're chilling with a frosty mojito by the pool. It's a miniature HVAC system, just like the one in your home, but sensor-sized. And nowadays, they're the super efficient heat pump type. Don't need to contribute to climate change. However, it turns out that photographers, and who knew, are not that reliable. We don't always remember to use the settings. So, camera manufacturers got clever and found a way to force us to adjust the sensor's heat pump. They decided that if they made the image intentionally lighter, we would see that and we'd be happy to change an as yet unnamed setting to restore the image to its ideal exposure. Then at a series of meetings held in room temperature wine cellars in Paris, these fools, members of the Federation of Optical Leaders, considered potential terminologies for this setting, terms like calefaction, pyrexia, and incalescence. And they nearly agreed on creating a unit of measurement honoring Ludwig Boltzmann. But as they were already late for their Poisson d'Avril dinner reservations, they opted to obfuscate. When they regained consciousness, they found they'd agreed on the term exposure compensation. And they decided that the exposure compensation dial would either increase or decrease the deviation from the sensor's physical Eddington constant, 137. And I am not making this up. Feel free to follow Eddington or Boltzmann into their respective internet rabbit holes. Links in the description. But back to exposure compensation, because in keeping with other photographic terms, it does the opposite of what you'd expect. A larger shutter duration is shorter, a smaller f-stop is a larger opening. So Increasing the exposure compensation lowers the sensor's temperature, making the image brighter. It makes sense if you think of the sun's temperature. Don't look directly at the sun. Anyway, at the end of the day, when the sun creates that golden light or slightly later during blue hour, remember that as your camera starts to overheat, just turn up the exposure compensation. And ignore the other quack cures for overheating, like storing your batteries in the fridge, flipping out the screen, turning off image stabilization, or using shade umbrellas. Well, there you have it, fellow photographers. Happy snapping until your memory cards are full, your batteries are depleted, or your camera overheats. And full disclosure, no generative AI tools were used in the preparation of this video. I do all my own research and writing. You simply cannot trust those systems. And remember, I'm not sponsored. No one has paid me to make this video, although some did offer to pay me to not make this video. And even as YouTube makes it increasingly difficult, I do read and reply to your civil comments and relevant questions. Enjoy the remainder of your day. Thanks for watching. Look out for elephants and fish. Stay safe.